You know how some songs make you just feel like putting on a blanket, starting a fire, and watching some Charlie Brown? Well, today I want to talk about some of the chords that can give you that feeling. 'Cause some chords they just have that feeling, you know. So if you want to get that smooth R&B sound, you have to move away from triads just a little bit, but not all extended chords give you that feeling. So today we're just going to be talking about three different chords that can give you that winter feeling and the feeling that just makes you want to go and relax. All right, so the first chord type that we're going to be talking about today is a minor major 7 chord. So just so you can see what that looks like, you're going to start off with a minor chord. So we'll take C minor, and instead of playing a minor 7 like you would normally do, we're going to make it a major 7, right? So by itself, it might sound a little, like mystery movie, crime show type of chord. But if you put it in the right context, it can sound very, very, very pretty. So I mostly use this chord on the 4 chord. So by that I'm meaning like if you're using chords in the key of C, C is your 1, D is your 2, E is your 3, F is your 4. So mostly use it on that chord. So just to make it as simple as possible, here's an example of how I would use it. Doesn't that make you just want to put on a blanket? um, so you could also use this on the 6 chord in minor. So the same chord. So if we're in A minor, there's 1. I'm sorry, so this is 1. Here's 3. Here's 4. And then here we go. And yeah, you could do the same thing. Um, so this chord gives you that tension that it could pull you a few different ways. So um, just to keep it simple, we'll keep it in major for now. So we can use this and go. Let's say we're doing the 4 again. This could either take us back to the 1. Um, it could take us to the 3, which we can then start with our four chord, not 4 chord, our fourth movement. So we can go from E to A, D to G. We could do that. Um, this can also take us to our 6 chord. So let's do it again. Right, so you can go a few different ways with this chord. And so another version that you can do of this chord would be the minor 6/9 version. So what that looks like, right? So that's another good one you can use. There's your minor chord. There's the 6, 6 away from F, and a 9, a ninth away from F. And you can even chain these 2 chords together. Here, I'll play it a different way. So that's the first chord. The next type of chord we're going to use is a flat 7, 9 with a suspended fourth. So I know that sounds complicated, but it's really not going to be that complicated. So all we're going to do, we're going to stay in the key of C, just makes it easy. Um, if we're going to play a G chord, then basically all we need for this is the 9, which is going to be a suspended fourth. Suspended just means it's not the 3. So you're going to play 9 and 4 or 2 and 4. And for the 7th, we could either do, or we can, it only works with a flat 7th, right? If you try to do a major 7, that's not really what we're going for. So this is the chord we're looking for. As you can see, it's basically an F major chord with a G in the bass. Okay, so I like to use this chord for my my dominants. So what that means is, like, if you were to do 7th chords, you can see that every one of these is either going to be major or minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, until you get to the 5 chord. Now the 5 chord is called a dominant because you're playing a major chord with a flat 7, right? And that's the dominant chords usually is what gets you back to 1. So I like to use this chord as a replacement for that dominant chord. So if we just play our standard, like, our heart and soul progression, right? That 5 chord sticks out, right? So if we just play the chords, see that 5 chord is a little bright. So if I don't want it to be as bright, I can do still has the same effect, but kind of keeps it closer to the 4 and the 6 chord. And this also provides some chaining, right? I can go from here to our flat 9, and that works just as well. So that's another good one to do. Um, uh, another way to use that chord is a little bit off of the topic, but you can also use these chords with some chromatic motion. And it works out pretty well, so I like to do that as well. Not that chord, it would be. Yep. Anyways, okay, so going on to the last chord. This one we're going to be talking about a tritone substitution. And I know that sounds really advanced. But first, we all know the song This Christmas, one of my favorites. That right there is always like one of my favorite moments. And so I always kind of wanted to know what that was, and it's really just a simple way of uh, adding some extra tension to a chord and then releasing it uh, when you get to that 4 chord. So I'll show you. So um, basically, a tritone substitution is just when you switch out the 5 chord that you would normally play and replace it with a dominant chord that's a tritone away. So I'll explain what that means, right? So if we're in C, our goal is to get to F, right? Um, Typically what you would do is you would just make this 1 chord a dominant, flatting the 7, and making it that 5, because a 5 is, or C is the 5 for F. So normally you would just go which sounds fine. It sounds nice. But if you want to add some extra tension to that, instead of just staying on C, we're gonna go a tritone away, which is just three whole steps. So you can go whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step. So we're going to be going to F sharp. Um, and by the way, it doesn't matter if you go up or down for this, because if we go down, whole step, whole step, whole step, it's the same thing. The F sharp is halfway in between the octaves of C, so that's why it's the tritone. So when we go to this, when we use this dominant chord instead, that's going to give us some extra tension, right? So going back, here's the first one. That's just a normal dominant to our major four chord. Now, if we go to the tritone, extra tension, there it is. So that way you get a little bit of a bigger release when you go to that four chord. And by the way, so since we're on four, we can go ahead and use some of our other tricks. There's two. Now we get to our five. I'll do that one more time just so you can get, just so I can explain it better. So there's our major one. There's our tritone substitution right there. Now we're on our major four chord. So we're going to make this a minor four chord, but keep the major seven. And then we're just going to do fourths. So E to A to D, and then we're going to do another fourth to get to our five chord. So we're on two right now. D is two. We're going to go to our five, which is G, and that's our nine suspended fourth. And you can change that into just a flat nine, back to one. So yeah, so that's it for this lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you made it this far, you might as well go ahead and like and subscribe. That's going to greatly help a small channel like mine. And stay tuned for more piano and production tips. I'll see you in the next one.